Hello. Hello, beautiful people. This is Stephanie, Soul Seeker here, and I wanted to come on and do a little video about how to use Oracle cards. This is one of the tools that I really enjoy using, especially when things are confusing or when sometimes you lose sight of the bigger spiritual picture that's working out in your life or in the collective picture. I know times can be very stressful with a lot of unknowns, and I definitely use Oracle cards as one of the tools to help me connect to my own intuition and to give me a way to let some other parts of myself that aren't necessarily logical from the mind, but can be intuitive, things that I'm picking up on. It gives them a chance to express those parts as well. So, for those of you that have never used Oracle cards, I'm going to start really kind of from the beginning of what to do when you get a new deck. So, first of all, I'm just going to show you this deck here. I'm not affiliated with this deck at all, but I love it. It's a wonderful deck. So this is one I just got again. I'm somewhere else, so I have this deck at home, but I just got a brand new deck. So I thought this would be a really good opportunity to show you what to do with a brand new deck. So when you get a brand new deck, and it's the very first time you're opening it, what do you do with it? How do you sort of inject your own energy into it and start working with the cards so that you can get messages? And yeah, so this one comes in a beautiful sleeve, which I couldn't properly get off, so I just ripped it. So we're just gonna get that out of the way, Chuck. And then this one also has a gorgeous box. It's very beautiful. So, okay, so here we go. So I'm opening the box. You can see here, all Oracle decks are a little bit different. I have a few other ones on the side here, but yeah, usually they'll come with some kind of guidebook, which is how you can start understanding the meanings of the cards and get sometimes more depth or questions and other ways to work with the cards. So the book is a really great resource. Usually in the front of the book, it will have some information about the cards and also tell you a bit about how to actually do readings, what are some of the readings you can do, as well as how to use the cards. I personally have developed a way that I really enjoy connecting with the cards, which is what I'm going to show you here. Every deck is a little bit different. So this deck, as you can see, so I'm just pulling basically the cards out of the package now. So I'm just going to set the package aside. It's beautiful packaging, but I'm just going to set that aside. So now basically we have the cards and we have the book. So I'm going to open the deck of cards. Ooh, here they are. So exciting. And so you can see this one, a lot of them come with this now. It's like a little easy way to get it out. Otherwise, you just turn it upside down. So now we have our cards. So this is a brand new deck. I just opened it. And what I like to do, one of the very first things that I like to do when I get a new deck is to clear the energy of the deck and tune into the energy of the deck. So how I do that is I connect to my intuition and to my crown, and then I'll bring that light energy through. So sometimes you can even picture really bright white light, and then I'll just knock the cards with my hand. Some people like to knock them 3 times. Some people may have other ways they like to cleanse them. For me, this works really well, and it's really fast and easy. So I'm just gonna give the deck one more knock. So I'm just gonna do that for a moment. I'm just gonna tune in and clear the deck. So now the deck is clear. It still has the images, the symbols, the energy within the cards, but the relationship between the deck and me is now kind of a clean slate to be able to work with. So what I like to do now is I like to tune in to my higher self and my guides. Again, I usually close my eyes. Often I'll take a couple deep breaths and I'll invite my guides in to work with me. Some of them, like this one, because it's a mystical shamanic deck, I probably would also invite in any ancestors that have anything they want to say, as well as any animal energies that may want to come through to give me guidance. And so, yeah, so we have our brand new cards. Let's say we've invited in the energies we want to be present with us. Usually what I'll also do at this point, before I start the reading, just as something that I like to do again, is sort of clear the space. So again, that's part of the invocation. And I'm just going to go ahead and do a little bit more of that. I've done some of this before I started, but this is just kind of to show you as well. So this time I have Palo Santo, so I'm just going to kind of sweep that over the deck. Smells so good. And my own energy. Maybe I go around and clear the space. So we'll do a bit of that. And then especially when I'm working with ancestors and guides, I also really like to light a candle. It's a way to sort of, to me, signify that I'm entering into a more spiritual, quiet space, and that I'm open to guidance. So we're going to do that as well. And yeah, we're just going to light this beautiful candle here, and then we're going to dive in. Fun. Okay, so there we go. We've got our candle. You may also want to bring in other energies that you want to work with as well, like crystals. I have quite a few here. I love the different crystal energies. One of my favorite to center in with, often when I start, is labradorite. This is one of my favorite labradorite palm stones I've been carrying around. It's a bit of an aside, but it really helps connect me to my intuition. So you may have some other things like that, like candles or sage or palo or feathers or crystals or something that helps you to feel more centered and ready. So just showing you some of those tools as we get going here. And so now with the cards, this is a brand new deck. Like I said, I just opened these. So now what I would do, now that I'm in my centered energy, I've connected to my guides. I've also connected to my heart and to my own center, to my higher self. So now I would go through the deck and I would pick each card and I would take a moment to just look at the card and hold it to my heart. The mystical shaman. And then I would do that with the next card. The seer. And so I would go through the entire deck like that. I did this already last night, so I'm pretty attuned to these cards, and it would take a long time to show you that whole process, but I think you understand what I'm saying. You can also fan the cards out. I usually do that just before I start the reading. So when I get a brand new deck, I will make sure that I attune to each and every card. Once I've done that, I usually don't repeat that process every time. You don't really need to. But I will often fan the cards, kind of like this, and then just hold them to my heart, which is also just a way to set my intention and say that I'm ready to receive messages. So I'm just going to set a little intention here for a moment. So we've got our brand new deck. We've opened it, we've cleared it with some light energy. We've blessed each and every card. We've connected to each and every card. And we've invited in our guides. We're in our centered space. So we're really open now to getting messages. And one actually just jumped out before I even did anything. And I did get this one in my reading yesterday. So I'm just going to keep that one out here. Yeah. Because it clearly wants to be part of this reading. So I guess that's our first card. So now that you've done that, you've connected with the cards and you're ready to start actually doing your reading. What I like to do, it depends. Sometimes you have a really specific question. And if you do have a really specific question that you want answered, I definitely would recommend sort of looking at potentially the different decks you have and which one you feel sort of the most pull towards, because that's generally the one that's going to give you the most insight that day. And sometimes I actually, if I have a specific question, will use several decks. So I'll use 2-3 decks even, and just have a couple cards pulled from each deck, because each deck has its own flavor and its own way of delivering messages. And yeah, so as you get used to using different decks, you'll sort of start to sense that each deck has its own energy and messages that are able to come through depending on the energy of the deck. Like I said, this deck that I'm using today, this Oracle deck, is very sort of shamanic, has a lot of symbolism, symbols, and a lot of ancient teachings in the deck, which is something I really relate to. And then, like, I have some other decks here that are different. Like, I have a goddess deck here. So this is a great one if I want to get more messages through the divine feminine energy. I have another one here. This is the Starseed Oracle deck, which I also really enjoy. And I just recently also got an Animal Totem Tarot deck. So that I'm not going to show you today because Tarot and Oracle are different, and they can give you different messages. So in another video, I can talk more about the differences between the two. But for now, we're just going to do a little mini reading. So again, what I would do, now that we're all centered, we're ready to do our little reading, I often ask a question or an intention. I'm just going to keep it quite general for today. And actually today, because I know there's an audience, even though I don't know exactly who you are, I'm going to tune in at this moment and just, I'm going to put this Pachymon card back in. And I am going to just ask, what is it that would be most helpful to come through today? That's very general. Like I said, sometimes you have more specific questions, but I'm just going to show you how to do a really general reading right now. And so how I like to work with the deck, this is something that I've sort of instructed the deck, is to kind of let cards jump out at me. And so when I'm doing a reading, that's how I like to do it. I like to just kind of shuffle, and you might see, hopefully you'll see as I'm doing this, that some cards will kind of stick or kind of jump out. And I trust that quite a bit. I've been doing readings with Oracle cards for quite some time. So everybody has their own style. Some people really like to do a specific reading or shuffle and then pick. Everybody's a little bit different. And that's the thing too to remember. Most of all, with any Oracle decks or anything you're working with sort of a spiritual nature, is part of what's happening is you're learning more and more how to trust your own intuition and how to develop your own intuition. So you're using, in this case, tools to get messages that you don't necessarily need the tool for to get the messages, but it's really helpful to start. And it's helpful sometimes when you're feeling a bit confused, just helps kind of clarify things to see it laid out like that. At least that's how I feel. So like I said, for me, I like to just sort of allow the cards to jump out. So we're just gonna do a quick little pull and just see what the messages are for today, and then see if they resonate. So again, I'm just gonna start shuffling. You can see already there's a few cards that are kind of getting a little more sticking out a little bit more, tending to want to fall out a little bit more. I really like to let them jump out. So we're just gonna shuffle until it feels right. So there's the first card that popped out, the Heart of the Sky. That's gorgeous. So I'm just gonna put that down and see if there's any other cards or any other messages that want to come through right now. Here's another one, the Journey. Beautiful. And I have a feeling there might be one more. I generally like to pick 3. Okay, and these two kind of came out together. So that's sort of an interesting thing that you will find happens. And I find that when they come out and they're kind of stuck together like that, there's usually almost like a double meaning. So those two cards are part of the overall reading, but they're also really connected. So because the Luminous Warrior is under the middle world in this instance, as I'm doing the reading, that is information that I'm aware of, that that those two came together. So I'm also going to lay them down kind of like that. So now we have our reading for today. I'm just going to see if I can angle this down a little so you can see the cards as I'm talking about it. I'm not the best at this, so I don't know if you really can. Sort of. Sort of. There you go. So those are the cards we've picked today. So we have the Heart of the Sky. That was the first card. And we have the Journey. And then we have these two together, which is the Middle World and the Luminous Warrior. And so the first thing I would do, even before I go to the guidebook here for the meanings, is I will sort of let the cards speak to me. So using your intuition, you just want to look at the cards and see what jumps out at you, if anything. And if you get any messages or feelings as you're looking at the cards, I generally like to do that as well. And some may have sort of specific messages for you or things that really resonate for you, and some may not, but yeah, there you go. And so now you basically take your guidebook and then you're going to go ahead and look up each one of these cards. So the first card, 24, the Heart of the Sky. So the heart of the sky is the love force that made all creation possible. This same force is present when you create with originality, when you bring formlessness to form or inspired ideas to expression. This primeval force does not know good or bad. It is up to us to provide the clear intention that will guide it to manifest. The heart of the sky helps us to call in beauty from the invisible world and birth it into the world of matter. And then in these cards, so that's sort of the way they break it down here is that's the essence of the card. So that's sort of the energy of that card. And then there's an invitation and there's also a medicine. So that's how they've broken down these cards here in this book. Everyone is a little bit different. Here the invitation is, the heart of the sky brings you a sacred reminder. You are a channel for the original energy of creation. Become the paintbrush, the canvas, the artist. All are guided by the heart of the sky. Set your intention ethically and clearly and allow the universe to take care of the details. So yeah, this card here. So basically, when I first looked at that card in this reading, the first thing that came to mind was possibility. And you can see sort of by the illustration here, it looks like there's a lot of energy swirling around, but it's not quite concrete yet. And so you can even see that, some of it's coming through her crown, some of it may be coming through her heart or her ears or her eyes. But it definitely resonates to me that this is a card of sort of pure potentiality, and the idea that essentially we are those radio transmitters that feel and bring in those signals, and then we bring that through us and into creation, which then brings it into physical form. And until it's in physical form, it's just an energy. And we are the vehicles that transform that potent energy of anything and everything into something more specific. So yeah, that's a beautiful card. I love that, and I love that reminder because we really are all creators, and it's powerful to create our reality. So the next card that we got was the Journey. This one feels significant to me. I've had a few shamanic journeys where I have met one of my guides, which is an owl who looked very similar to the owl that's on the top of this person. And yeah, in my experience with that owl, he's very, very wise, and that owl was able to help me navigate some of the records of my energetic history, let's say. So I'm gonna look this one up. So again, already I'm feeling like, yeah, this card is about how, you know, it's not just a destination, but it really is a journey, and that all of us are continuously transforming, that this is part of what we're going through right now, and that it is only through embracing and going through this journey that we're actually able to get the rewards and the changes, and that is really part of our path that we are all walking right now. And even though there's a lot of uncertainties at the moment, there is a path there. And we do have these other guides and parts of ourselves that can help us to remember. So that just all came out of me, but let's actually look up what it says here for this card. So the journey, the essence of the journey, is an invitation to step outside the boundaries of your life as you know it. The journey is not a holiday. It is a call to be hermit-like, to go on a pilgrimage into the unknown. There are no maps to the territory you will be exploring, no marked paths or road signs. The invitation, it's a time to embark on a great journey, is here. Do not linger in the port when distant shores are calling. Fearlessly draw your own navigational charts as you discover the route. When the time is right, and it is now, you will be led true, even when you are not sure where you are going. It is the departure that is the most important. If you miss the boat, a great opportunity will be lost. Another ship may not arrive for a long time. Yeah, so part of what's coming through for me right now with that and this reading is the idea that, you know, the reality is a lot of us right now are in the middle of this journey. We're in the middle of the unknown, and we haven't been here before. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like. We don't know exactly what is coming through, but committing to just taking that journey, to go deeper within ourselves and to discover what is there, what is ready to die, what is ready to be reborn, what is ready to be called forward, and to do that inner work is the invitation of the journey. And even though sometimes that work feels quiet or internal, sometimes it doesn't feel like you're necessarily getting anywhere, you are. Because every time you take that journey, you're stepping deeper into yourself, your own path, and a path that has been laid out for you, but will be revealed to you one step at a time. So now we're going to move on to these two, the Luminous Warrior and the Middle World. And because I just feel like I want to read the Luminous Warrior first, even though he's on the bottom and was covered up by the Middle World. So those two in this reading, like I said, this doesn't always happen, but in this reading, I feel like those two are very connected. So the essence of the Luminous Warrior, and let's just look at him here for a second while I say this. The Luminous Warrior has no enemies in this world or the next. He is impeccable in word and deed. He focuses on his light rather than on what he hides in the dark. Since he casts no shadow, he is radiant as the sun and can transform the most terrible enemy into his ally. His power comes not from the sword, but from speaking his truth at all costs. The invitation, the Luminous Warrior reminds you it is important to focus on your own power, wisdom, and beauty. Do not be seduced by what seems wrong with you or with the world. Remember that intention follows attention. So focus on your positive traits, feed your light with more light until you feel truly empowered. And then there will be little need for action as you will resolve all situations from within. Wow. That's a powerful one. I feel like that's super powerful, and I don't want to say any more about that until we look at the next one, because like I said, these two were very connected in this reading. So now we're going to look at the middle world. The middle world is the realm of the day-to-day reality, the playground of the living. In this present moment where everything is happening, yet the middle world is created by the future, not only the past, and it is a mirror of the invisible realms. When things are right in the middle world, heaven and earth support everything. When things are not right, heaven and earth must be brought into order as well. So the invitation, the middle world, shows up when conditions are favorable to your undertaking. Do not hesitate, move forward as heaven and earth are smiling upon you. The time is right, so be expedient, but mindful of not being reckless. The world is your playground, and what you would require great effort at any other time can be accomplished with ease right now. So very interesting to me, looking at these 4 cards and the meanings of all of them. And especially with the question that I asked in the very beginning. So again, I was sort of looking for like, what is going on right now? What is the energy that's happening right now around us? What is, collectively, where are we going? What is happening? And so I'm just going to talk a little bit about what I'm interpreting from these cards. We've already looked at the meanings of the cards. So generally what I like to do after that is kind of look at them all together. So we've looked at their individual meanings, and now we're going to look at it together. And to me, it's quite clear that this is the beginning of a new journey. So you have been invited as the creator. You've been invited to create something new. Everything that we have known has changed. Things are changing, things are evolving. And the reality is that we are the ones creating it. And it is our heartfelt, our heart connection that can create something new and something beautiful into the physical world. And it is through our intention, our courage to be in our heart center, our courage to go within and to take that deeper dive and that journey, which is going to help us to bring everything into balance. We are sort of like this tree. We are the conduit between heaven and earth. And we, with our intention and with our heart center and with our guides, are able to create new and to balance. And I think that is part of what's being asked of us at this time. A lot is not necessarily happening in our outer world, and a lot more needs to happen in our inner world. And so, yeah, this reading is just reminding all of us that we are connected, we are supported, we are on a journey, and we are creating something new. We're in the process of creating something new. And as we do that, it's important to remember that as creators, that we get to choose, and that if we're creating, not just from our past, but from our heart center, from what our true heart desires are wanting us to call in, that's really where the power is going to come from, and that's really where the harmony is going to come from. So instead of looking outside of ourselves for what to do next or what's happening, it's really important that right now we take this time to go on this inner journey. With the new moon in Scorpio that's coming up in, I guess, tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow. With the new moon in Scorpio that's coming up tomorrow, the Scorpio energy is very deep, it's very profound. And the Scorpio energy is really about death and rebirth. And so it's really asking us to examine the deeper parts of ourselves, to start pulling some light into those places where we can see how maybe certain things have served us. Maybe we've learned those lessons, and it's time now to integrate that and move forward on our journey and move forward from a really heart-centered place and move forward in our own way. And some of those ways are in the process of being created. So we may not know at this point what it's going to look like, but we can trust that when we are in alignment and when we are listening to our higher selves and when we are taking those steps with a courageous heart and from our heart center, and as our intention to do what is for the best, the highest and best for ourselves and also for others, that miracles happen. That's when the real magic happens. And it's exciting to see how that all plays out. So yeah, we ended up getting into a whole reading here. I hope that was also helpful because it just came through. So I guess somebody needed to hear that. And I hope that you also got some of the pieces of how to use a deck, how to sort of put your energy into a deck, how to clear a deck, and how to work with a deck. So yeah, I think I'm going to stop it there for today. If you have any questions, suggestions, ideas, other things that you'd like to see, I'd love to hear it. So leave comments. And otherwise for today, lots and lots of love, all my love. And I hope that this is a tool that you can also use to kind of tap into that bigger picture. It's something I do for myself quite often, especially when I get too in my head. I can really overanalyze a lot of things and start to get anxious and worried instead of really reminding myself that I am in the flow, that things are working out, that I have these tools that I can use, that I'm not alone. Yeah, and I want you to all know that as well. You're not alone. And a lot of us are coming together right now. There's new communities building. There's a lot of amazing potential and things happening in the world right now as well. And in those moments where you're feeling like you really need some direction and some centering and a reminder of kind of the bigger spiritual picture, I think oracle cards are a really great way to tune into that intuition and into those parts of yourself that recognize symbolism and that remember. And so I hope that was helpful. I love you all very, very much. Sending you lots of love and light. And I'll speak to you in another video. Have a wonderful day.